The moment Julian's fork pierced into the fish, the stench hit him like a slap. He paused, pulled it up slowly, and stared at the green fuzz clinging to the pink flesh. His jaw clenched. Around him, the quiet hum of first class remained undisturbed, luxury at 40,000 feet, where expectations soared just as high. He was the only black man in that cabin, tailored in deep navy, shoes gleaming, presence commanding, but now, holding up a moldy piece of fish as if it were a message from the universe. Before we go further, if you're watching our video for the first time, you're highly welcome to Elliot Stories. Please comment which part of the world you're watching us from and make sure to subscribe, because tomorrow's story is a banger you'll never want to miss. Julian didn't call for the flight attendant. He didn't shout. Instead, he set the fork down gently, wiped his hands with a napkin, and leaned back in his seat with the calm intensity of a man who'd been tested one time too many. The flight attendant assigned to his section returned with a broad smile. "Everything good with your meal, sir?" Her red lipstick matched the neck scarf knotted just above her collar. Her teeth gleamed white. Her tone was cheerful, but dismissive, like she was performing a role rather than offering real service. Julian lifted his eyes to meet hers. "Would you eat this?" he asked. She blinked. Looked down. The smile twitched. I'm not the one dining, sir." He didn't speak again. Just looked at her. I can bring you something else," she said quickly. "Chicken, perhaps." "No need," Julian replied. "I'm not hungry anymore." She lingered, unsure whether to apologize, defend herself, or walk away. Eventually, she chose the third. Julian turned his head toward the aisle. Across from him sat a couple, a white man in a beige linen jacket and his wife draped in pearls, both watching him like he was part of the in-flight entertainment. The wife leaned toward her husband and whispered something, eyes still fixed on Julian. He took a slow breath and pulled out his phone. No rage, no theatrics. Just silence. Back in economy, flight attendant Clara was whispering to her colleague, Jordan. "Did you see the look on his face?" "He probably thinks Mold is racist now," Jordan muttered, chuckling as he poured juice into a plastic cup. Neither of them noticed that the passenger behind them, a teen girl with headphones on, was recording everything. Julian was watching the seconds pass on his phone. 1, 2, 3. Every second of silence was a decision. He wasn't just a passenger. He was the founder and CEO of Julex Group, an aviation logistics company. One of the biggest suppliers to that airline. 9 minutes after the moldy fish moment, the captain received a message routed from ground control, CEO Julian N. onboard. Escalate hospitality status. Investigate catering breach immediately. The flight manager, an older woman named Dana, was called out of rest and briefed. Her eyes widened. She didn't even know he was on the flight. The moment she stepped into first class and saw him, she nearly buckled. She'd seen his photo during onboarding. Training had drilled his name into every corporate crew member's brain. But no one had connected the dots until now. Dana knelt slightly by Julian's seat like she was in church. "Mr. Nelson, I deeply apologize. I wasn't informed. Please, how can I correct this?" Julian turned his phone off and looked at her. "Who approved the meal service today?" Dana swallowed. "That would be crew lead Marsha H. She's up front, sir." "Bring her." By now, the passengers in first class were alert. Phones slipped from magazine holders. Eyes darted back and forth. The woman with pearls stopped chewing her complimentary cookie. When Marsha, the overly cheerful red-scarfed attendant, returned with Dana behind her, she didn't smile. She knew. Julian looked at her and then at Dana. "I won't raise my voice. I won't threaten lawsuits. But this isn't about me. It's about what you think of people who look like me. What you think we'll tolerate, what you believe we deserve." Dana's face was drained of color. Julian continued, "I've spent decades in boardrooms making sure men like me have a place in this sky. But it seems your sky still has ceilings." The couple across the aisle didn't blink. Clara and Jordan, in the back, were summoned. They came reluctantly, still unaware that their little joke had already reached trending status on social media, captioned, "He probably thinks Mold is racist now." Julian stood, buttoned his jacket, and looked at all of them in turn. "Enjoy the rest of this flight," he said. "You won't be working another." And just like that, he walked down the aisle, silent, powerful, and completely aware of what his silence could do. But the story didn't end when the plane landed. Not even close. By the time the aircraft touched down, hashtags were flying faster than the plane. #MoldyMealGate, #Julia Nelson, and #RespectBlackExcellence flooded X and Instagram. A slow-motion clip of Julian holding up the moldy fish with a disgusted face was already being edited into memes. But underneath the humor was fire. Back at the airline's headquarters, the CEO, James Whitmore, was pacing in his office, face pale. The internal Slack chat among executive teams had been buzzing since the in-flight alert. His assistant burst in. "He's already left the airport," she said. But he posted, "Look." On Julian's LinkedIn was a brief, chilling post. "Respect isn't reserved for your VIPs who look a certain way. It should be your baseline. I've pulled all Julex contracts pending full review. And that's just the start." The airline's shares dropped 4% in 2 hours. Behind the scenes, firings were swift. Not just the flight crew, supervisors, quality control officers, and a regional catering manager lost their jobs. But even that wasn't enough. Public pressure mounted. Civil rights groups called for accountability. The airline scrambled to arrange a press conference. They offered Julian a public apology. He refused it. Instead, Julian posted a 3-minute video from his private office. No dramatic lighting. Just truth. This wasn't about mold. It was about mindset. "I won't be applauded for exposing something I should never have faced. I've worked too hard to be degraded quietly." He closed the video with something simple yet haunting. "I didn't fire them out of anger. I fired them because silence no longer serves us." In a twist nobody expected, Julian announced he was launching Altitude Alliance, a non-profit task force designed to monitor racial and class discrimination within the aviation industry. Airlines would now be held publicly accountable for treatment of minority passengers, staff, and suppliers. His network of black investors rallied behind him. Celebrities began endorsing the mission. It was no longer just a flight incident, it had become a movement. Meanwhile, Marsha, the head flight attendant, tried to reclaim her image with a heartfelt video, crying, makeup smudged, claiming she had no idea the fish was moldy. She blamed stress, a bad breakup, and miscommunication. But no one cared. Clara and Jordan tried to deny they ever made the joke, until the teen girl who'd recorded them did an interview on national TV. She ended it with, "If he didn't have power, they'd have laughed him off. I just wanted the world to know." Dana, the flight manager, offered to resign. Julian stopped her. Instead, he met her privately. "I don't want your resignation," he said. "I want your transformation. Help me clean the industry from the inside." She accepted, and later became the first director of training for Altitude Alliance, helping write new manuals that would be adopted by 3 major airlines within a year. The airline's board tried to mend fences by offering Julian a permanent seat on their ethics panel. He declined. "This isn't about a seat," he said. "It's about altitude. I don't need your seat. I build tables in the sky." And so, a plate of moldy fish served in ignorance turned into a revolution rooted in dignity. Julian's silence that day was louder than any lawsuit, and far more powerful than rage. Moral lesson: never underestimate the quiet dignity of a person who knows their worth. Racism doesn't always scream, it whispers in service, smiles in prejudice, and masks itself in professionalism. But truth, when spoken softly with courage, will always rise. From Elliot Stories, the next time life tries to serve you moldy leftovers, remember, you're not here to beg for respect. You're here to redefine what excellence looks like. Keep rising.